see that video? This video got 60 million views because it had this guy in it that after 30 years with a bent back, one treatment caused his back to erect.
So it's opened up?
It's nowhere near.
Those cracks that you're doing and those back cracks can be life-changing. Or do they? Let's begin. So what's up guys, welcome to your fitness pal, Cracks. So besides the fact that you and us have a click, and that's why you're also clicking on the like button at this moment, here, and here are also places in which a click can occur. But is that okay? And what if it's not a finger crack, but rather a back crack? There are millions of people that are going for a special treatment to fix their spine and reduce their pain. There are also parents who take their children to these treatments. Yeah, all of that instead of working according to science and following this channel. Now, is it harmful? Are cracking your spine really that useful for getting our back straight for good? And what does a spine surgeon has to say about the topic? Now we'll answer everything. So, cracks. Basically, to this day, we are not completely certain where the sound is coming from. According to this review about knuckle cracking, we know that there is a formation of bubbles, but the process in which the bubble is formed and the source of the cracking sound isn't clear. Just a sec. Now, is it harmful? So, according to the same review, we don't have solid evidence for a strong association between knuckle cracking and osteoarthritis, or for a finger loss, or any other thing that people scare you about that could happen from those tiny cracks. But when we click on the search bar on YouTube, you can see a whole world of spine cracks. Which is an entirely different world. Or is it? So I'm sure that at least once you've seen someone who underwent that kind of treatment. Or that treatment. And a little bit of that too. But what is it really and what are the benefits? Does it put your bones back in place? And before we jump on people's chests, let's jump into the scientific literature. First of all, it's humanly impossible to be certain which joint underwent the cavitation process based solely on the sound. I cannot say, oh yeah, that sound. I recognize this sound, it came from L3. Impossible. But just like in the knuckle, the audible pop that comes out of your back is no different. There are people who come see a chiropractor just because they believe that the audible pop releases their tension.
How'd that feel?
Good.
But does it really? Pay attention to this. There was a study in which people underwent 6 manipulations, and that's a manipulation. They received 6 of these on their upper back in one treatment. What a joy. After the treatment, they were divided into 2 groups. A group that had more than 3 audible pops, while the second one had less than 3 audible pops.
How'd that feel?
Good.
Surprisingly, the latter had a greater improvement than the former. And the summary was that there was no association between the number of audible pops that were heard during the manipulations and the reduction of neck pain. However, this is only one study. But it's not the only one that concludes that. To conclude, the studies indicated the effect of the sound. Yes, the one that you've heard only once until now is more psychological than physiological. But if you heard a pop, doesn't it mean that something has to move or change? No, it doesn't. And if you'll pop your knuckles, you'll have to wait a bit till you're able to hear it again. The same applies to your spine. If you, for example, pop your neck prior to treatment, technically you may not be able to hear it again during the treatment. So we understand that these pop sounds that are heard in all the videos with millions of views, those holy sounds that heal people, resurrect people from the dead, make me coffee and do everything but deliver me breakfast to bed, are not necessary. But are the manipulations themselves effective? Is the treatment itself effective? Let's check. According to the NCCIH, there are no qualitative studies that manipulations help relieve neck pain. There is weak evidence that spinal manipulation may provide short-term relief from acute or chronic neck pain. And now, for back pain. A major Cochrane review concluded that the manipulations are no more effective than a sham treatment for lower back pain. But what is a sham treatment? In the study, they compared pretending to do the real technique to the real technique. There was no difference. Bummer. But there are a few studies that show some relief in the lower back in the short term, but also here the information is conflicted. But are these manipulations dangerous? What about the video that got 60 million views, in which from one treatment this guy's back got straightened? And is it even recommended? For these questions we collabed with our dear friend Dr. Chris, a spine surgeon, to shed some light on the topic.
Hey everyone, Dr. Chris, orthopedic surgeon and sports medicine physician. So my friends asked me a few questions about spinal manipulations.
So what's your opinion about this treatment as a spine surgeon?
As an orthopedic surgeon, I approach these manipulations with reserved caution. Research articles show us that these manipulations, while not necessarily dangerous, offer no advantage over active progressive exercise therapy alone. While they may offer transient relief of back pain symptoms, they do not treat underlying pathology if present. In addition, mechanical back pain has a natural history of self-resolution within 6 weeks of onset, so it is likely in most cases that had the spine not been manipulated, the same endpoint of symptoms resolution would have been achieved. I generally don't recommend them, as I am more of a proponent of education and self-care with flexibility and exercise training.
So I very much agree, and according to research, back pain can usually go away on its own. Now, what about this video? A video was uploaded, and since then it's having fun in the big city with a cup of coffee in one hand and 60 million views in the other, of a guy who has been living with a bent back.
Probably had it almost 30 years, a form of hyperkyphosis.
And in a flick of a finger, after one treatment, his back was fixed. Oh my God. How?
In some cases, people present with functional skeletal deformities that are not fixed, but rather related to muscular inactivity or overactivity in the postural muscles in the thorax and lower extremities. The manipulations demonstrated here can serve to temporarily reduce muscle tension that might preclude more anatomic posture. This would result in temporary improvement of the abnormal curve with which the patient presents. However, it is likely that were you to measure the patient's curve radiographically before treatment, immediately following treatment, and 24 hours after treatment, any positive gains apparent immediately after treatment would not be present 24 hours after treatment. To my knowledge, there is no data to show that these manipulations can improve a structural deformity in any permanent way.
So yes, like losing weight or gaining muscle mass, there is no such thing as solution that happens just like that. Now, for the most interesting part, are these treatments dangerous?
In general, spinal manipulations are relatively low risk with infrequent complications. I would not normally say that they are harmful. However, there are specific circumstances in which I do feel that the potential for harm is greater. This includes situations in which there is structural or neurological instability, where bone that is osteopenic or osteoporotic, where fractures are present, situations where spine surgery has been performed, or where bones have been developed abnormally or have become deformed over time. Manipulation will do nothing to change the shape of the vertebrae. So any transient improvement gained from manipulation will quickly be lost once the patient stands upright purely as a result of the effects of gravity. Forceful manipulation in an attempt to correct this deformity puts the patient at increased risk of fracture of the thoracic vertebrae. So there you have it, brothers. Thanks for watching. That's been a word from Dr. Chris, not your everyday ortho.
So many thanks to Dr. Chris for the amazing information. And we have two surprises. Chris has a YouTube channel, and it's an amazing channel we've been following for a long time. So go show him some love, binge his channel. There will be a link to his channel down in the description, along with another message from us. Here's a spoiler. And a second surprise, the next video will be on something very, very special. Until then, subscribe to the channel. This is how we build a healthy body with an evidence-based information. Share this video with anybody who has a back. Like the video because we are very invested in these videos in crazy levels. See you at the next one because it's going to be even crazier than this one. Bye bye.